Sweet. We are live. Going to pop out the chat. Okay. Here we go. Got the chat popped out, which I think I'm actually going to pay attention to today because I've been working on figuring out how I'm going to. Shay! Oh my God. You... Girl, so fucking happy to see you. Oh my gosh. I was just thinking about you and I need to text you actually, which I will do after the stream. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. Yay! Okay, I get to pay attention to the chat today because I've been kind of thinking about with the past few streams. I've been wondering, like, okay, how do I my fucking ADHD and my perimenopause pulling out thoughts from my head and distracting me and this and that. And I'm like, maybe I should just not pay attention to the chat, but I don't like that. Anyway, oh, you were texting me. Oh my God, we're so connected in the quantum space. Yeah, we have some more chat. No, please be distracting. You're amazing. I'm sure you have. It's actually really nice to have you here because and obviously no pressure or whatever. But like I was just thinking, I was like I'm not. I feel like I'm not supposed to pull cards. Like yes, I have some notes to talk about, but also I kind of wasn't supposed to prepare for this. It's kind of like whatever is coming out, and I know it's the eclipse energies and that kind of thing. So I'm actually really glad to have somebody in the chat because I'm like, okay, it'll help me kind of maybe direct some of my things. But we know how to. We know there's never any pressure or whatever, but I know that whatever we talk about is meant to come out. So yay, I get to hang out with my friend. So cool. Oh, welcome to the Midnight Diner. This Dread Pirate KK coming at you live from the crossroads. This is episode 11. And yes, as Shay is pointing out in the chat, the energy is lightning and fire. I was just about to check in with everybody to be like, how are we feeling? Happy eclipse day. The first of the season here, lunar eclipse in Pisces. Total lunar eclipse, actually. And it's not visible from America. It's only visible in like Africa and a few other places. I can't remember. I looked it up and then of course immediately forgot. But it's not visible here, which is fine. We're still going to feel the effects, obviously. But we're in full bore eclipse energies, and are we feeling it? So yeah, I don't know. I'm ready to start shaking up some worldviews today. And it's funny because that it's just such a Uranian thing to say, like lightning strikes and shaking up like earthquakey type energy. And I was just thinking about how I see people as their birth charts and as planetary influences. So like right now I can feel myself being Uranus and just kind of here's the lightning strike, here's your out of the box ideas, and let's shake up the worldview and stuff. And I can also see when I'm playing the Plutonian version of myself for other people, where it's just kind of more like that we're excavating everything and kind of maybe a little volcanic in nature. So, and then when I see people, it's like I don't really, it's not that I don't see physical avatars. I do, but I am seeing the soul more now, and it kind of comes through for me in, I'm like galaxy brain on the birth chart thing or the body graph thing, where I'm like, I can see your mechanics and how you move through the world, and like I don't just see the person anymore. And so it's just really kind of a nice, I don't really know why I started talking about that, but the planetary influences are really, I guess because I'm feeling all this fucking energy. But yeah, the theme, like I've been feeling with this eclipse, you just expect the unexpected. And that's true for any eclipse season, obviously, but like this just feels so ramped up. Every time I try, and this is literally in the last couple of days, like every time I try to make a plan, it just immediately, like, I don't know, it's like a few minutes later, something completely throws it off track and things change and this and that, or something happens. I'm like, okay, I don't really. Oh, and we've got Shay on her other. Okay. Lee Harris was actually talking about the volcano energy as well coming up. Political and climate volcanoes. Yeah, it's all good. I know you are. Yeah, I love Lee Harris. I need to link in my YouTube version, I will link his latest. I haven't watched the latest energy update. I've been directed away from watching predicting, or not predicting, but like at the beginning of the month, he releases like the monthly energy report. And a lot of people tend to do that, kind of looking ahead, what to expect or whatever. And I've been directed away from watching those. So it's kind of like I need to move through some of the energies myself and then kind of watch the video for context way later. So I'll link it I'll link his August one. Oh my God. I keep saying August. We're in September. It's September 7th. What the fuck? I'll link the September one in the chat just so you guys have access to like his channel in case you feel like if anyone watching wants to access him. His new book, The New Human, is really helpful if anyone is struggling with these big shifts. Oh, I didn't know he'd written a book. I'm the same. It only comes to me that way after I have already channeled and experienced it organically. Exactly. Yeah. And whenever I would, in the beginning of my awakening, whenever I would watch other channelers and that kind of stuff, they would always talk about how they were also directed away from listening to anyone else's thing. It's like they had their own radio station that they are the radio station. This is how I see things in mechanics sometimes, or I'm like, I am a radio station, and it's fine to tune into other things, but like the purity of my own channel, sometimes I just need to practice like making sure I'm the only one that I listen to. Yeah, this is his newest channeled book, which is Interview with Regina Meredith. Oh, Regina Meredith. Yeah, she has that show on Gaia. I haven't watched it, but I hear a lot about her and I see clips. I don't have a subscription to Gaia anymore. March 2025. How did I not know he wrote a book? Well, I haven't been watching his shit, I guess. The only one I've really been watching is, I saw his interview or the little panel that he and Pam Gregory did over the solstice a few months ago. And I linked that in one of my other videos on YouTube or on one of my other channels. So anyway, I can link it again, but he's such a beautiful, there's just so many people out there who are such beautiful souls who have this beautiful, pure information full of love and guidance. And like, they don't shy away from reality. Like, yeah, there's some shit coming, but like, we're going to be fine. We're going to make it and all that stuff. So, oh, Regina Meredith is a projector in human design. Oh, I didn't know that. No wonder she could. Yeah, okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. And for anybody who doesn't speak human design, a projector, it's a very small portion of the population, and they're meant to like. It's like projectors they have this bird's eye view of things, and they can just kind of see where the distortion is. And it's like if you're looking down from above, you can be like, oh, if you cut through here, you'll miss this traffic or whatever. And so if you have a projector in your life, ask them for help because they're waiting for the invitation. They can't just say shit because then it won't land for us if they force it. But when we invite their advice in, they will cut through. It's a natural ability of theirs to just cut through the distortion. And so anyway, knowing your human design, again, is just a really helpful thing. So we'll get more into that, obviously, as we continue to go and as I learn more about it. But Shay is a projector. My friend Shay is a projector. So it's like, he was on, he was on an interview with I forget how to say her name, from Big Bang Theory. And that's awesome too. She asks all the science-based questions on channeling. Okay, I want to watch that. I saw that video come across my feed and I was like, I don't know. But also there's something was like, you might want to check that out. But I had been in such a space of just like, I can't even move, or I haven't exercised in like over a month. I can barely, I can do the bare minimum to keep myself, alive, and my garden alive, and the cats, like I do all those things. But like a lot of times I can't be around other noises. Like I've been reading a lot of books actually, and just kind of having fun with that energy because I haven't read books for a long time. For a while I had to take a long break from everything. So kind of getting back into books is really nice. And then they're not all, I'm reading some little lighthearted mysteries, cozy murders, like whatever. But a lot of times I can't hear other people talk. I can't be around my phone, whatever. But sometimes I do still watch TV. He really legitimizes the practice, so it's confirming and inspiring for those who channel and are trying to deepen faith in that practice. No, yeah, no, this is good. You don't have to stop. This is good. Yeah, that's the thing. These people we're all leveling up, and it's the people who've been, pretty visible in our little spiritual communities and kind of like famous in that way, but not famous, they're not, it's not like Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever, but everybody is leveling up to reach a wider and wider audience. So it's really encouraging that he's such a good representative of this community. He's just such a beautiful soul. So I'm really glad that he's out there and like we've all been feeling how science and spirituality are going to be merging even more than they already are, obviously, but like it's going to be I can't, I'm really excited. So I'm happy that he's coming. Yeah, leveling up is the vibe big time. I think that's why the past couple of months have felt so, I can feel the level ups. And I know in my last stream, I talked about how I felt like I was under construction and just kind of not ungrounded. I don't feel like I'm in spiritual psychosis or floating in time and space or whatever, but also I kind of feel like I'm floating in time and space because I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. But also I don't feel, super floaty, just under construction. Like there's a lot of, it's not even really fogginess to be frank, but it's also just kind of like there's not a whole lot of clarity. Just I take the step in front of me, and even then half the time steps change. And I know I was talking to my last stream, I was like, the day after my last stream was when Mercury finally cleared its fucking retrograde shadow, and I was like, yes, we're gonna clear it. And I even mentioned, I was like, no, it's not like any transit is gonna save us, so it's not like Mercury leaving its shadow is gonna suddenly make everything better, but it also will feel some freshness. And sure enough, ever since Mercury left its shadow, it's still kind of I still am feeling those effects. It's like there's still, a lot of trickster energy, and I think that's just what it is right now, is the trickster energy, and it is ramping up for those people. It's ramping up these next few months because that's just the nature of this game, and we're kind of exploring or exploding some of the stuff that's been like volcanic energy, like Lee Harris was talking about. It's like volcanic energy, everything's coming up to the surface, and so there's a lot of trickster shit to kind of get us to use our spiritual discernment muscles and figure out what is for us and where we're supposed to put our energy and all kinds of stuff. And the trickster energy is just here for our highest evolution. And as much as I fucking want to strangle it sometimes, it is doing a really good job breaking me out of a lot of stuck patterns and belief systems and just having a looser experience of things. And yes, I still throw tantrums, but fucking whatever. Moving forward along a very clear path, the end of overthinking and all the old stories and limitations. Exactly. If this fucking Pisces eclipse is doing anything, which it's already, like, all these energies have been the endings and endings and endings, like that's been the past few years, but this Pisces eclipse is just like, you done, girl. And done in the way to level you up to the next thing. So a lot of threshold guardians are coming in. And I know I've mentioned on other streams where, a lot of us are we're all entangled with each other's energy, and we're kind of working on separating and figuring out what is ours, what is theirs. And then we can kind of come back together and, have a healthier interdependent rather than codependent relationship with everybody in our world and that kind of thing. And so one of the people that I have been working on untangling my energies with, I had a massive breakthrough energetically with closing out that cord. I removed I cut it off, and I healed. I sent healing energy to the person, like this gold. It was like all happening in my third eye. I wasn't even really doing any of this consciously. And this happened like just a couple days ago. So it was very eclipsey energy, like the endings, like cutting out the cord, sending the golden healing light. And it was infusing the body, the energy body, like I could see all these things happening. And then there was I think I might have sent red energy and maybe a different color. I can't remember, but then it ended up being rainbow energy. And then when the rainbow energy went through, it was like I could see that energy spreading from that person to the entire household, like other people in it, other, all the pets, everything around. And I cried so much. It was such a good release because it was so full of love. Like I just was like, it's been a long process and it's been a painful process. And so I was crying out a lot of, you honor the trauma and the hurt that you have, but you also love the person and know that they didn't do it on purpose, really. Like that was their role for you and you for them. And so I had so much compassion. And so that was part of why I was crying. Cause I was like, the person I was healing, I was just like, you picked such a hard, difficult path as a soul to come in here and do this. So yeah, the human experience was really fucking traumatic, and I benefited or whatever from that. I also took on the trauma, and so I was honoring how hurt I had been, but it was like it didn't weigh me down anymore. And that's the thing, when you forgive people, and I've been working on forgiveness for about all this stuff for a long time, and I've reached certain levels of forgiveness, and I thought I had done all the things, and then like you get to the new layers and you're like, oh, I had more to release, and that's what this was. And so I had all this forgiveness and compassion, and I was like pure love, like I had moved the hurt trauma, that kind of stuff. It was like I was honoring that, but I wasn't holding it in my body anymore. And so I felt really light. And before that, I had seen, again, energetically, like in my third eye, I had seen this like this chest plate armor. It was like black with like metal, like silver metal studs, and it had come off my chest finally. And these are the kinds of things, they're going to show up differently for everyone. Okay, it's telling me I have an unstable internet connection. I don't know if I'm still streaming or not. I think I'm recording still, so I don't know if I'm tech issues, trickster energy, who knows, but I'll just keep fucking talking, so whatever. But I will get to the chat. Oh yeah, the trickster energy is kind of transforming as well as we embrace it, expecting the unexpected and not being afraid of it, because the unexpected is going to be treasures and surprises blooming from a solid and pure foundation we have spent a long time setting. Damn, yeah, that is really well said. It's really well said. I want to chew on that because that's exactly third eye. Oh yeah, third eye activations. Okay, so I'm glad that you're also third eye activations the past week as well. Cutting all the cords. It's clear path to walk and to way show. You're leading this by example. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's so yeah. When this armor came off of me, and like I said, it's going to show up for different people or differently for everyone. But these, when you get images of this kind of thing, or like I've seen swords, like fiery poisoned swords being pulled out of my throat, and like this and that, and it's not like literal, because obviously physically it's not happening, but in your third eye, when you see these things, energetically it's happening, and your higher self and all the teams and stuff, they're working on your energy body, and that trickles down into your physical body. So I had a sore throat when these things were happening, but it wasn't like it was strep throat. It was just the physical ramifications of the energetic work happening. And so when this armor fell off, I knew it was one of those like blockages. Like I've removed all kinds of things. I had a spiked collar in my neck. It was real fucking gnarly. I don't want to go into that right now, but like, so spiked collars, I had, the flaming and poisony swords, all kinds of, we put blockages in our energy bodies and whatever to play these games. It's like handicaps. It's like those of us who are we're all powerful souls, but like those of us who are awakening right now, we're the way showers. Like Shay was talking about, it's like we're way showers. And so we're so powerful. We are dragons. We're so powerful that we have to give ourselves huge handicaps to come in and play and stay and play again. Well, we've talked about playing the game and how it's not that I don't think I take this game seriously, but like at a soul level, we're playing these games and it's a very serious game or whatever. But like, also that's what the trickster energy is here for. It's like, yes, take it seriously, but also you don't have to take it so seriously. So it's hard for me sometimes to not take it seriously because I'm just so in it and I'm like, "Brr." But anyway, so all these blockages we have them, and so they'll show up in different forms. So for me, this chest plate armor came off, And I knew it had been with me a long time. Like, I have removed so many things, and now finally this chest plate armor is coming off. So it's like we're getting closer and closer to those original blockages that we put in, and then we put more and put more and put more. And so we're taking them layer by layer. And so I'm getting closer and closer to just like, and I know there's things that I'm not going to be healing in this lifetime. So I don't know that whatever things I have on me, I'm not sure I'm going to get to a healthy place with all this stuff. And I already am in a healthy place, but like, it's just, who knows what I'm still going to carry with me and have for the rest of this incarnation. But either way, it's fine. Even if I do still have some blockages, that's okay. I incarnate later and I work on those, whatever. So anyway, this breastplate came off, and that's when I got the vision of like cutting the cord and sending the healing energy and whatever. And I was like, I just felt like, whoa, just because when that shit comes off of you, it's just like you can feel this energy just like flow. It feels like cooling energy for me. It's just like I get tingles, and it feels like I put icy hot on. Or what, I don't know if anybody knows what icy hot is. I don't even know if it still exists, but it's like a healing thing where it soothes and cools your muscles, and it just felt like I was full of icy hot. and then I got the visuals, so I was like walking around like, oh my gosh. And I had to do like dances and just get it out of my system, just like, whoo. And then I could just go back to resting. So that was a major, major breakthrough and an ending. And like I said, there was another thing I want to go into, but I'll do that after I check the check. Cause yeah, third eye activations, also fucking heart activations. My God, after all that, so like the chest plate came off and all these things, my heartburn, it was choking me. The heartburn was so bad. And it's not like I ate anything, I was eating some junk food, but like, it's not anything that I haven't already eaten in the past. And that doesn't give me heartburn. So like heart expansions energetically will give you heartburn. And I was just like, but I knew it was good because my heart was like purging. The generation, oh yeah, so going back to the generation before us really took on a ton of earthly trauma and karma to help us clear through that open and activated heart space. So fucking true. And it's like the first waivers, if you know Dolores Cannon and her work, she talks about the three waves of I guess, does she call them star seeds? I can't really fucking remember. I can't. Anyway, they started incarnating in the 40s and the 50s, and those people were here to really just poke holes through that frequency fence and bring in the light codes and just like make sure things were like to poke holes through that fence so that we could all start to get more of that light from our starseed family, the cosmos, like all these things. And they had a really hard time because this is dense, and a lot of those people, there was a lot of suicides or a lot of depression, or like really just like it was very, very hard for them. And so it's kind of like it's time for them to rest. They have done their work, and it's just my heart is just so full for those people, because that was the toughest job, and it probably felt a lot of times like they were failing on stuff, and this world is just so dense. And so anyway, just I guess commentary on that. They play such a pivotal role in getting us to the stage of transition and collective ascension level up. Exactly. Big Earth star Merkaba and solar plexus activations. Oh, Merkaba activations. I didn't even. Okay, that's kind of connecting some dots too. Yeah, the solar plexus too, because my solar plexus, I have been. It's like it's burning sensation, just kind of like a like crampy tummy, kind of not tummy. It's just a lot of physical, a lot of physical symptoms right now. Aligning with power and divine will is like rocket fuel. It's so true. It is so true. It's like rocket. I really did feel like I was just pumped full. I was like, am I going to fly away? Clearing the armor and opening infinite new pathways within self of inspiration, creation, and abundance. Dude, so that brings me to the literal next day after the healing with the rainbow energy and the breastplate and all that stuff. The next night, which was only a couple nights ago, I felt another piece of armor, same look at black with the silver spikes, and that it was just on my left side, and there was like a big metal spike that was going through my shoulder right here, and that all came off. That all came off. And so again, I was just feeling like this cooling energy, and I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, what is happening? because when these things happen, sometimes you feel a lot of energy and you can kind of flail and start drowning, which is what I used to do. But now I'm kind of used to these things, so I can handle more and more of this like insane cosmic energy, which is my higher self coming in. And that's exactly what happened. Once this other armor piece came off, and I was just kind of sitting there, I could feel something like an energy kind of sliding in through my center, like down maybe my spine, or but coming in the front. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm feeling it on the entire left side. And so to tie in something, I need to do a little bit of a side quest to like say what this is. But last year I decided to really explore what the fuck the gifts were in my emotional lows, because I know there's always a gift and I could never see it as a gift. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna Uranian energy this and be like, I'm gonna explore, like thinking something completely opposite, which for me, I was like, there is no gift in the emotional low, and that's my firm stance on this. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the exact opposite. I'm like, you know what? It's all gifts. Let me just look for look for that treasure. And so the polarities obviously are, it's like you're swinging the pendulum, and it's like you end up more back in the middle, because I don't think it's all gifts, but I also don't think it's all bad. So anyway, one of the breakthroughs I had with, like, I could see the gifts in the emotional low. As soon as I had that breakthrough in my third eye, I saw this big, like ginormous black dragon, and I knew she was my divine dark feminine dragon, and in my head she was like pretty far away in the distance. And so cut to like a couple weeks ago, I forget what had happened, but I'd gone through a different activation, and it was something to do with the emotional lows. And then immediately after that, I saw her in my third eye again, but she was right behind me, and I was like, whoa. And so then the couple nights ago, when like the armor fell off and I felt this cooling sensation, whatever, and everything just kind of, there was this presence in my entire left side. It was her. It was my black dragon. It was my divine feminine. And I was like, oh, she driving the bus now. Okay. It's like she took her rightful place, kind of leading the way. And I was like obviously very ecstatic about this, because like, oh, finally, because I feel like I'm home, I feel like my parts are home, and I feel good about all this stuff. I'm like, oh, finally, thank fuck, like she's gonna take the wheel and we're good. And it doesn't mean I don't also have free will, like I have things to do on my own, but like she is gonna be a lot of a bigger presence. But also I was a little bit terrified, because I was like, oh, she know she coming in to change some shit. It's gonna be amazing, but it's also like, hold on, because here we fucking go. Oh my gosh. Anyway, ooh, through the shoulder, the weight of the world. Oh, the weight of okay, that actually makes me. Then you aligned further through the center, my convergence point, without the mental limitations, attachment that I was holding on to. Yes, I love that you get this. It's so nice to have you in the chat right now, dispelling the illusion that it has to be one way or the other, the emotional lows. Exactly. And this was the gift this dragon was trying to give me. It's like, if you start to at least entertain ideas that you've never entertained before, I have room to come in. Black dragon at the convergence point of dark within the light, yin within the yang, yang within the yin. Oh, that's so beautiful too, because that reminded me that when I had this tick bite thing, and I mentioned in other streams, I finally feel her, because she's like this black hole energy, little tick, energetic, obviously, but she's embedded in my right ovary, and it's like my right side is my masculine side. So again, it's like the light of the yang energy, or yang, or however the fuck you say it, and then like the yin, the little dot of yin dark spot and so that's what's happening. And now I have this like entire black dragon. So anyway, it's just an interesting yin and the yang and everything kind of converging into the 0 point, and everything is everything, and blah blah blah. Whoo, so many fucking things happening. But again, my black dragon is divine feminine, and it's like a receiving energy, which I had to have a lot of practice on the resting and receiving. And so I think for this activation to happen, I had to go in the month of August, and also apparently moving into September. I don't see myself doing a whole lot of shit in September either. It's just like a whole hermity rest period for me. And I think I had to have that as the final feeling under construction thing where things were being cleared out and all the work I've already done on myself made it possible for my higher self to clear out some other energetic shit. So now I'm finally fucking embodied in my fucking feminine energy. And once she came in, like a few hours later, as I was kind of processing all this energy, because again, I was just like, whoa. I was like, what? It kind of feels like you're on mushrooms, even if you're not really. And so I felt my left ovary activating. There was just like some pain, physical pain. And I was just trying to like move around to kind of, because I could feel energy moving in there, and it was just like firing up. And now this like left ovary of mine is acting like this black hole energy. It is wild. And I'm still kind of unpacking all this stuff. It's very new right now. So these are the things that I can actually put words to. But as I move through the integration and all the other things that are happening, I'm sure I will be able to talk about it more, because oh my god, this was a no joke activation. And it actually really helped me because it felt so good. And I was like so nervous about this eclipse because, you know, I in the having these awakenings, and things are coming, like the energies are happening, this and that, and you like still a part of me would sometimes be like, okay, but that's for the collective, like I'll be fine, like nothing's gonna happen to me, I'll be able to help people through their bullshit, but like it'll be fine for me, no turbulence. And then I go through the turbulence and I'm like, oh fuck, and it's really hard and I hate it, and I'm like shit. So I was kind of, obviously I'm gonna handle whatever gets thrown at me, but like I tend to brace and just be like, oh god, whatever, trying to avoid the blow, even though it's whatever. And I've noticed that this time around there is a part of me that is still kind of bracing a bit, but I've been kind of shocked in a pleasant way about how much peace I feel. And like, I'm not really clenching and tightening up and being whatever. I'm like, yeah, I have some nervousness and anticipation of the things that are going to be happening. But it's like, this has moved through me so much easier. And it's sort of like I'm sailing through it well. And you can hear my hesitation because I'm like, what I'm doing well, what? And so it was nice to have these two activations because I could feel the Piscean energy of the endings for that, karmic cord that I finally was able to cut. And then also this beginning where the black dragon kind of actually enters my whole body, and we're now kind of more complete and ready for the next stage of the mission. And we're in, I don't remember if I talked about this in another stream, but I know I remember I talked about the actual video. And Shay, I know the divine feminine and sacral clearing and blooming is so real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's oh god, the divine feminine, it's just so present. And it's just, I'm sort of in awe, not sort of, I just am in awe. I'm like, wow. It's really good. But fuck, what was I saying? I thought in my head, and it just kind of, I didn't finish it, but that's okay. We'll get there eventually. The peace. Yeah, thank you. Actually, the peace is bigger within us because it sits in all the space we have cleared and anchored in our center. Our inner earth is a reflection of heaven on earth and so much easier to flow back to. Dang, yes. And that, reminds me of what I was talking about. So thank you. And also a thought about like what I wanted to talk, like this Lemurian energy. And I know Shay, you and I talked about this Lemurian energy pretty recently, but the peace I have been feeling in my body as opposed to the clenching, and it's like I don't know the physics of it, but you know how like when you, I think when you're falling from a great height or whatever, and if you get stiff, or it like causes more damage, but if you kind of roll, it's easier to kind of not be injured or whatever. And so I kind of feel like that's what's happening, where I am so relaxed and at peace and in surrender mode. It's like I know everything, I know the themes of what's coming to me. Like I understand the things that I've been working on. It's like that's what I'm still going to be dealing with. until I'm done dealing with it. And so it's not like I don't know what's coming. I don't know the specifics of the situation or whatever, of the trigger or when it's coming or whatever, but I do know that when it comes, I'm just like, "Oh, these are things I've dealt with before. These are my threshold guardians. They are the parts of me that I am working on healing and releasing and all kinds of stuff." And so, um I guess the fear is just not really there anymore, at least not the way it used to be. And it's nice because I've done a lot of fear alchemy the past, well, the past few years, but it's like been a whole thing my whole life. So anyway, it's been a really nice process of just, and actually I wore my, I wore my dragon necklace. I wore this the first stream I ever did and then just never wore it again because it's kind of a statement necklace and I don't really do that kind of stuff. But I was like, you know what? In honor of my black dragon, I'm going to wear my dragon statement necklace. And I am also wearing the same dress I wore when I filmed my Be Gay, Do Crimes. I was like, you know what? We're gonna be gay, do crimes, bringing back that energy of like divine feminine does what she wants to fucking do. And in the name of, it's not like, yes, there's chaos or whatever, but also she's here for me to do my highest good and evolve to my highest amazing self. And so she has my best interest in mind. It's not like this is a dangerous, like, she gonna do whatever she wants, but like, she gonna do whatever she wants. And my little ego self is like, you do not have control over this situation. And honestly, it's kind of awesome. I gotta say, I'm just like, somebody else fucking figure this shit out for me. Because my logic and reason, or my thinking brain, my planning strategy brain parts just don't want to work anymore. And that is because of the new energy we're going to be moving into in 2027, where the planning and the strategy and all the stuff that we've been really clinging on to in this past age, it is no more. It is expect the unexpected. It is go with the flow of the universe. And it's not like you can't make plans or strategize or whatever, but you have to be really willing to just go with the sudden changes in the current, or like riding that river. It's just like, you're not gonna. So I'm glad that all this stuff is happening, but it's like being a part of the pre-wave of this stuff, like some of us are. It's just like, it's all new for all of us. And so we're sitting here as like, we know we're supposed to be guides for the rest of humanity. It's like, but can we get some fucking help? Can we have our own guides? And it's like, yeah, you got to listen to your higher self. You got to listen to your divine feminine black dragon, who's going to do some shit that doesn't make sense. Like I have been doing the past few years. I've made decisions that make no fucking sense in my logic and reason self. And if I were to talk about them to other people, they would be like, what the fuck are you doing? And there's a very select few people in my life who can actually understand all of this craziness and not think that I am off my fucking rocker. It's like, yeah, it's happening to me too. And we're all, it's like a normal thing. So anyway, yeah. I'm going to come back to the inner earth thing in a second, but okay. The new journey can be fallen into without fear because the foundation has been set and safe and soft. That's how it feels. It really, and my divine feminine, I think, is like, that safe, soft. I've been working so hard on finding inner peace in myself. And I kept thinking I was failing all the time because it was like, well, I've done all this work and I still feel fear and unsafe and like all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, you have to do a lot of linear time stuff maybe to get through this. But then energetically, once it clears, you're just like, whoa. So it's been a nice little thing to feel how suddenly I noticed. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually feel safe, and it's my divine, and that's what gave the room for my divine feminine dragon to come in here and be like, finally, bitch, finally you cleared it. Nothing to figure out. It will all make sense when it needs to. Divinely timed breakthrough. Exactly. And I'm such a mental space person. Like I have a heavy Aquarius placements, which are air sign, the overthinking, like constantly in the brain thing. And then I also have a Virgo stellium, and Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of thinking and the brain and like logic and reason and all this stuff. So I have so much mental stimulate. It's like, 8,000 million tabs on a browser open at any given time. And have not really listened to the heart space, the intuition, and the body. Dude, don't even, I can't trust my body. What are you talking about? That is the least safe place for me to be. And so now that I've had a crash course in initiations of like being literally forced to do these, listen to your heart space, listen to your body, find the safety in your home, but your body is your home. And that again is the energy that's going to be hitting the planet heavily in 2027. We're getting a taste test of it now with the Virgo Pisces axis. And so for those of us, if you are one of those people who have been going through insanity, like if you're resonating with the things that I am saying, it is because you are going through the darkness without a light. You are the light. And so no wonder shit doesn't make sense, and no wonder we feel like we're flailing, and no wonder, blah, blah, whatever. But that is because we are strong enough to do this, and we're here to help the rest of humanity go through the same thing. But that's why there are waves of us doing it, because there wasn't a whole lot of room in this dark, dense place until then. We started to, the first wave of people started poking holes through that fence. The second wave of people kind of brought in lots more of those light codes, 60s and 70s, and then the 80s and 90s, that kind of, it's just, and then now the children being born, they're like literal rainbow children. Like they're not white. My friend has a kid who's like 3 years old. I swear to God, she has all of her memories from like, I mean, I can see everything about her. She's just like not putting up with this inverted matrix bullshit. Not that she even knows what that is, but it's like that she is so coded to God consciousness, source consciousness, and so pure because there's not as many blockages. And so the people coming in right now, and it's not just the kids, but like people younger than me, they're just like, they're really ready to just pour forth all of these codes and blocking in the new templates. And anyway, we're clearing the grids and all kinds of shit. That's one of the biggest illusions we are dispelling: overthinking, the need to figure or fix. Yeah. And so for those people who are going to be going through this, the rest of humanity, like the masses are going to be going through this in 2027. And so that's why those of us, anyone who's resonating with what I'm talking about, it's like those of us who are going through these dark nights of the soul now and like going through all these initiations and really tough shit. These are not punishments. These are the soul, the contractual agreements we took on as a soul to help Earth clear a lot of these things for humanity. And so we're kind of alchemizing collective egregores like fear and scarcity and lack and toxic empathy and financial hits after financial hits, or like relationships breaking up, or everything you're going through serves a greater purpose, but it feels really bad to the human self. And so even though I still am in financial scarcity and don't have money coming in or whatever, I don't feel that fear anymore. Not the way I used to. There's parts of me that are still just like, but can we please just have some money or, whatever. And that's okay. Like, I don't have to fix every part of me. Like, I am allowed to have parts of me that are just like, I want money. But the greater part of me is just like, it's going to be okay. How many times have I been shown that everything is okay? And yeah, I have the fear and I throw my tantrums and stuff, but like on the other side of that, some miracle will happen where I'm just like, how I really shouldn't have worried or whatever. But it's also okay that I worried, because again, that's part of the process of alchemizing the greater egregores that we came down here to help alchemize for the collective. And so anyway, shifting my perspective on all these things has kind of given me a lot of that inner peace where I'm just like, I don't know. And so now I'm not pushing. The August was actually pretty amazing, because even though I felt awful, like, I went through the really bad emotional low and did whatever and all this. And then I was, even after the emotional low, and I was like, fine. I was still like unable to get out of bed a lot of times because I just was like, I can't move my body. I cannot do, I don't want to do, whatever. And it's been so nice because it kind of allowed me to relax more fully into that divine feminine self and allow this dragon to come through, because I was just tired of overthinking and tired of pushing. And I was like, I am just gonna fucking rest. What if I don't do my dishes? What if I don't organize this or blah, blah, blah. Although, speaking of organizing, I did finally clean out my Zen room. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last stream, or a different stream, but I have this Zen room, which is also the TV room. But like, it's like I'm so electrically connected. I don't think of TV necessarily or games or whatever as not Zen. I just kind of, I have this electrically integrated consciousness, and I don't, maybe it's a paradox or whatever, but welcome to welcome to human existence. Paradox is our middle name. So anyway, I have this in where it's like all the junk and shit, like anything I didn't want to unpack or organize, I would just throw in there. And I was like, this summer, I was like, you have to do this by September 1st. You have to give yourself a deadline. And I did get that done by September 1st. I still need to move out a couple of bags of cat food and stuff, but like, it is a usable room and it is a relaxing room. And yes, the shelves are full of like, it's basically my pantry now because I don't have a lot of storage in my kitchen. So I'm like, there's milk, shelf stable milk and snacks, and it doesn't look great, but also, at least there's no boxes there, and I can go in there and just kind of sit in my beanbag chair and play my little Mass Effect game if I want to. I haven't really sat in there yet, but I'm going to eventually, and it's going to be a nice, cozy little spot. And then I had it on my wish list to get my bedroom done because my grandmother, there was a lot of my grandmother's things in my bedroom, and it wasn't in my way. It was fine. It was like books and like, some stuff in the closet, whatever. But I was like, I really wanted it to just, I needed it to be cleared. And so when it was a little bit after September 1st, it was the 3rd. So I was only a couple days late, but whatever. And I finally woke up that day and I was like, it's time. And I just took all the books. I didn't even have coffee. I didn't even have tea. I just like got out of bed and I was like, it's time to do this. And I just moved all the things and threw away a couple things. And, yes, some of it ended up in the living room, which is like the other place that kind of needs to, it's a bigger Zen room kind of situation because a lot of more stuff is, but it's fine. I don't really go up in the living room. I know it's a project for another day. Also, the carpet up there is messed up because like the furnace, the radiator up there was spewing water because the furnace was broken. And so I've already kind of have that room sort of sectioned off in my mind as like a bigger project. So it's okay if it's a little bit messier, but it was so awesome to have my room be my room. I cleaned the shelves, I dusted, I did all the things. I do need to vacuum, but my vacuum is broken. So anyway, working on that one. But and I actually, so on the shelves where I was clearing out the bookshelves and like some trinkets and blah, blah, whatever, there was also an American flag because my grandfather, he was in World War II. He went CO status. He was a Quaker at that point, so he was a medic and whatever. But he flew an American flag every day in his yard and took it down at night. And he always had the flag. And I think that flag that's in the room, it's all folded up perfectly, like the military funeral kind of thing. And so I think that flag was at his funeral, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, how do you get rid of a flag? Like, I don't, and it's not like I'm going to follow any rules. Like if I want to get rid of a flag, I'm going to fucking not listen to the government telling me what the fuck to do with it. It's not like I was thinking that, like, what is legal, but I was more just like, do you just, I didn't make sense. And then finally I was like, you know what? I think he's supposed to be in here. And so I left the flag at the top of the shelf. I moved it to a higher shelf and I put he had some cedar, pieces of wood that he would sandpaper, and when you sandpaper it, like the smell would kind of reinvigorate or whatever. So I put some cedar around there because that was what his thing. And then I have a few crystals, like my dragon skull crystal and a couple other things that I've been collecting over the years. And it's honestly, it feels like I'm building an altar in my room, and it's really nice. And my grandfather feels like it was a nice little, it's kind of like the yang in the yin, because like the bedroom I'm in was my grandmother's bedroom. And so I have this very feminine, a lot of divine feminine energy in this bedroom, because obviously I am too. And it's like that little, dot of white in the yin and the yang, circle. It's like, okay, my grandfather's a little dot of white in my, in my very dark, divine feminine room. So anyway, feels really, and that felt like Virgo new moon energy, just kind of like, we're going to clear out and organize and make the space our own. And anyway, so that felt good. I know other people are kind of probably going through that too, but just a lot of clearing out of things that don't need to be there anymore. And so, hot and hydrated. Need to keep hydrated. Also, it's very nice in this room. It's definitely fall weather right now. It's been so cold. I've had to sleep in extra blankets, and so I don't need my little air conditioning neck unit thing, although my nose is still a little bit sweaty, but whatever. What else was I gonna say? I had this thought, something triggered. Oh, the Lemurian thing. That's right. So I wanted to where do I want to go with this? Because there's a couple other things. You know what? I'll go to a couple other things first and then go to the Lemuria thing. Because there's one thing. Again, so many thoughts in my head. I gotta pick one and pull it out. So what my note says is free guy, NPCs walk out. We're doing that. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by free guy. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Free Guy, but it's a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and I know Ryan Reynolds is problematic, but the movie itself is like really good. It's kind of like a kindergartner's version of like, hey guys, we're in a video game. Literally, here are the steps to like, and Taika Waititi did the movie, and I will watch anything he makes because like he's so fucking amazing. If nobody knows who that is, he's like he's done a couple of the Thor movies. He's New Zealand. I think has Maori heritage, and he did Black Our Flag Means Death, that show. Anyway, he's hilarious. Oh, What We Do in the Shadows, another amazing show. So fucking hilarious and good. Anyway, so I watched this movie because he directed it, and actually I didn't even want to watch the movie. That's right. I had this huge resistance, and I was living in Montana at the time, and my neighbor was this guy named Dave, and he was like this chill, like, you know, stoner guy, and he was like, you gotta watch this movie, man. And I was like, no. And so finally he was like, come over, I'll make tacos, we'll smoke a bowl, and we'll watch this movie. I was like, fine. Free food. So my mind was blown. I was like, what the fuck? So if you don't know this movie at all, and it's not like a spoiler, but basically it's about NPC characters. And if you don't play video games, you don't know what those words mean. NPC means non-player character. And so when you play a video game, you are the main character, and you interact with like different characters in these games that you play. And some of them only have limited dialogue because they're just like background characters to add to the story, and to like, in this story, Ryan Reynolds character works at a bank. And so the mission for the main players in the game is to rob the bank. And so every day he's like robbing the bank, and they're on this loop, and they only have certain dialogue options and this and that, while the main characters are just like free for all, like killing everybody, or, like, or robbing the banks, or, whatever. And he goes through what is a digital equivalent of a spiritual awakening. And it comes through, it's like a love story or whatever, but it sounds cheesy, but honestly, it wasn't. I really enjoyed that show. I really liked it. But it comes across because he has his character is coded to kind of always long for this perfect woman that he has, again, being coded to think of, and it's unattainable, whatever. And then he fucking comes across this woman, and it fucks up his code so much that it's just like, and he's like, what is going on? And so he starts to wake up to this world, and eventually he realizes, or he gets told, that he is a non-player character in this game. And he's like, what is good? So this is kind of what is happening to all of us. And I'm not saying we're not important, but I mean, this is the idea of things. We are waking up to the fact that we are just characters. We are playing limited storylines in someone else's game, and the people running this goddamn game are the pedophiles and human traffickers that we pay taxes to. Okay, it's so the thing that happens in the movie is that he the other non-player characters are getting together and he's like trying to explain what the fuck is going on. It's literally like trying to explain a spiritual awakening. So you do the best you can, but it doesn't always make sense to the people who don't know, who are not at your phase. And that's fine. Everybody goes through phases at different times and whatever, but they're all just like, what? So he organizes all the NPCs to walk out. And so all the people that have been, robbed at gunpoint or like their cars are stolen or like they get to all those non-player characters, they just disappear. They go into hiding in places that the main characters can't go into, or the main players can't go into. So when the players log into the game, there's nothing to do because they go into a bank to rob the bank and it's like, nobody's there to rob. And so what the note that I have underneath that is like the dock workers, I think in Greece or Italy or something, I can't remember where, but there's multiple places where dock workers loading shipments to, commerce, they're refusing to load the weapons to go to the genocide happening in Gaza. And I'm not saying they're non-player characters. I'm not trying this is just a metaphor or whatever. So it's like these people are like, that's what it takes to get the game changed into something that we actually want to build. And also the other note I had was there's an article I came across where Japanese bus drivers were refusing to take fare from money to ride their buses. They didn't strike in the regular way where they just didn't drive. They were like, we're going to still help the public get to where they need to go, but we're not going to collect money because fuck you. Fuck you government, or like, whatever. That's the kind of shit, that's the pirate shit I am talking about. We're just kind of, so that's what we're kind of in the process of. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like over the next few months, this is going to be, there's more and more of this going to be happening because we had a massive purge in August, like the Schumann resonance that I was talking about last stream, where just like there was a massive, just like it was very, very volcano energy. And that volcano energy is going to continue, and it's going to expose all of the things that we're like still contributing to in this. We're playing someone else's game. We're not playing our own game by staying in our same stories, staying in the same relationships that keep us feeling. It's like you can feel the dialogue options just like repeating and repeating. And you're like, bitch, what are you talking about? I literally didn't even say anything about what you're saying. It's like they can only reply with, it's like have you seen the Truman Show? If you forget Free Guy, if you haven't seen Free Guy, but the Truman Show is very similar to that. And as Jim Carrey's character is going through these awakenings, like his wife character starts to do a commercial for hot chocolate or something. And he's like, what are you talking about? Because he's talking about how he thinks he's being watched in the sky. And she's like, have you tried this hot chocolate? Because that's the only dialogue options that she has. And so when you think about that in your regular life, like the people you come across, it's like when you're in these relationships and the people are meeting you, you're trying to talk about something deep or talk about your feelings or like why you feel this certain way. And the other person just keeps coming back to you with arguments that don't make any sense. It's like they only have those dialogue options, and you are the one that is showing you that you are the one who needs to break out of character. You write your own script, and that's what I keep talking about with writing your own stories. It's like you're just looping through all these things and you're working on breaking out of that, but like this is the kind of shit you come across in a spiritual awakening. And so that's what feels like is happening the next few months, because September, October, November, I've even seen other people posting about it. It's like, okay, gearing up for the plot twist coming in September, because this is the time period when it's usually they try to do a lot of stuff like what happened on September 11th, that kind of shit. It's like this kind of stuff comes through in the fall era. I mean, it comes through all times, but for some reason it really does feel concentrated in the latter part of the year. Oh my God, this is so real. I've been playing my Nancy Drew games, the old ones, and they will likely, or they will like say something totally condemning or that solves the mystery, and there are no options for Nancy to ask about, and she's just like, okay, thanks, bye. Yeah, exactly. That's how the NPC. And that's how I feel a lot of times, just like going out in public and interacting with people. And I'm just like, it's okay. Just, it's like, I'm not judging them, but that's why I don't leave my house, because I can't. Unless I have to, I just don't want to interact with people who have limited dialogue options. I want the deeper connections. So anyway, if you're going through all of this stuff and you're craving the deeper connections, it's going to be lonely at first because you're going to be the only one awake around you. And slowly and gradually, I mean, it's going to move faster and faster. I don't want to like make this like it's not a depressing thing, but there are phases of loneliness because you haven't called in your new tribe all the way yet. And so as it happens, like piece by piece, we come together, we find each other, and you're going to know your people when you find them because they're literally going to resonate and it's whatever. But in the meantime, as you shed your old life, it's a lot, but that's why we have the Midnight Diner. You come here and we get to contextualize everything. You get to be around people who have non-limited dialogue options. and it's just, this is what I'm doing. The other thing I want to talk about real quick before I go into Lemuria thing is the 3i Atlas comet. And I know I brought this up in a different stream because I was still kind of chewing on what it might have been. Because I still think it's I've gotten some clarity on like what other people are saying it is. Like Avi Loeb, I think he's a Harvard guy or something, and I think he's a psyop kind of dude. Because he talks about aliens and he's a Harvard guy, so it's like, well, if a Harvard guy, it's kind of like I'll get to that. Sorry, 1 second. So he'll talk about aliens, but it's in a very limited hangout kind of way. And I know I've mentioned limited hangouts before, and it's where it's like disclosure of anything, not just aliens, but like any kind of underground shit that we're not supposed to know about. It's like they'll talk about it, but they'll also, so there's like a kernel of truth, but then there's a whole lot of lies or a whole lot of other misdirection or, whatever. So I think this guy is one of those things. And if you don't know who he is, who gives a shit? Fuck this guy. But anyway, he is saying something about how he thinks it's like an alien spacecraft or whatever. And I'm like, oh, they're planting that narrative. Gotcha. So I don't know that they're going to use that play, but I think they're keeping it in their back pocket. And that would be like a fake alien invasion kind of thing. Oh my God. Anyway, like I said, I don't know if they're going to use it, but something's whatever. So what I wanted to say about that, though, was what I mentioned in the last stream was how I think this comet, because it's an interstellar object, it is coming through with codes that are just going to fucking blow our minds. And for me, I wasn't really putting this into context until I read someone else talk about the timing on these other things. But I was like, usually when these celestial events happen, like transits of planets, like eclipses, like whatever, it doesn't always like the transit will happen and then like, 6 months later or like a couple years later, things start to make sense or, like whatever. It never really feels immediate in a lot of ways, like all the changes and stuff. But someone else is putting this in context for me. So the reason 3i Atlas is named what it is because it's the third interstellar, so 3i, third interstellar object, and Atlas is the name of the observatory that discovered it. So there's only been 3 interstellar objects that we have identified and proclaimed publicly. The first one was in 2017. I forget the name of it, but it came through right before they dropped the New York Times article admitting that the Galactic Federation was real and they only talked to Israel and America and like all the, again, a psyop or whatever. But it was a massive step forward in alien disclosure. And anyway, setting aside like the psyop part of it, it was just like, that was a massive change right after this like interstellar object came through. The second interstellar object came through. I think it was called Uamuamu or something. It was a cool like Hawaiian. I'm sorry I butchered that. It was a very cool name and I should have practiced it. But anyway, it came through in late 2019, right before COVID hit. So this one is coming through and it's not going to be a joke. So talking about its orbit, I know I mentioned in a couple streams ago where I talked about how it's going to get really close to Mars, and it's going to get close to Mars sometime in October. I can't remember, pretty like early to mid October, I think. And to me, it told me that that was rewriting our codes of divine masculine energy. Like right now, we're in the toxic masculine energy part of this, where it's like, flushing that out. So it's going to be rewritten to the more divine masculine energy. So instead of like war and aggression and do and think and whatever, push, it's like, oh, we're stepping into new forms of leadership, because the divine masculine is a very leadership oriented energy. It's like, it's the initiatory spark to do the thing and to push, to create, to, whatever. Because there is a place for logic and reason and planning and doing and pushing. But when you're too far into that, that's when it becomes toxic. So anyway, I think it's rewriting a whole bunch of stuff like that. And so I don't know if they're going to try, because usually when codes come in that rewrite stuff like that, the powers that were try really hard to stay in that old energy form. So there may be more war-like events or pushes, or whatever. We might see a pushback to that divine masculine coding coming through. So it's maybe tumultuous, and that's just the name of the game right now. There's just going to be a lot of shit going on. So anyway, but don't worry about it, because again, they're all losing energy. That's why they're trying so hard, because it takes a lot of effort to keep us down in this fear and density. Light and love and buoyancy is our natural state. And so that's why we have all these, it's just like, it's a lot of work to keep our consciousness very low. And there's too many people who are awake to all the stuff that's going on now. And so we're just like, what the fuck? So when they do try stuff, which they will, they're not going to stop trying. When they try stuff, just know that it's not going to go anywhere. And anyway, so yeah, but it's also the closest it comes to Earth is like October 29th. So something, again, whatever, we're interacting with the Earth in that way. And so I don't know when the stuff is going to play out, but again, the fall is going to just be very full of the stuff. The other planet it's going to come into close contact with, it goes Mars, Earth, and then Jupiter. And I forget when it comes close to Jupiter, but sometime in November, I think. And Jupiter is the planet of like spirituality, meaning making, expansion, that kind of stuff. So I feel like there's going to be a deeper connection to the cosmos coming up, like our own spiritual awakenings, like stuff is going to be, we're just going to be rewriting a lot of fucking stuff. And so that's why I wanted to talk about the comet again, because the fall, we have eclipse season, and then we've got this interstellar object coming through, and it's just, again, obviously, I don't think I'm fear mongering. But in case you do feel any fear about this, it's like, this is all amazing shit coming through. And so when you see that stuff happening in the external or in the collective, or, whatever's happening, wow, throat chakra issues, upgrades, let's go, baby. Anyway, expect something, and it's going to be big, but it's going to be fucking amazing as it plays out. And just keep in mind that trickster energy is here to remind you that if something looks bad, it's maybe not bad. It's probably not bad. At this point, when you see bad things, it's like not bad anymore. It's, not really. That's again, fifth line universalizes. I universalize things. It's not like, I know there's nuance, but anyway. Chicago right now is a good example, and DC. Oh yeah, there's like, okay, I'm not sure. Is he Trump? I'm assuming. I know he brought the military into DC, and is he doing that in Chicago too? Okay, I think. Did you already tell me? Sorry, my brain is fucking cannot pull up the records. KK, come on. Anyway, exactly. Yes, he's threatened to bring the Department of War to Chicago. Okay, that's what's happening. Gotcha. Okay. See, it's like this interstellar comet coming through, getting real close to Mars. I knew that's hilarious that's actually, they're mobilizing and blocking it all off with salt trucks to fight back. Interesting. The other thing about this is like, not that I don't believe this is happening. I totally believe this is happening. But I mean, in general, when you see stuff like this being really hyped up in the media, is it actually as bad as they say? Like, are there as many things happening at what? Because what I feel like sometimes happens is the media, which is a part of the old system trying to keep its power and keep us our consciousness low, it could take like one little car on fire or something and make it look like that's what's happening everywhere. So I just wanted to put that out there for people, because like, you just can't, just use your fucking discernment muscles and talk to the people who live there, or listen to reports from like TikTok is a great example of this, because people, like when in East Palestine, Ohio, when that train derailed and stuff, I was like the media was saying one thing and trying to do whatever the fuck, and the people who lived there were like, this is actually what's happening. And so listen to people like that, because it could be like the media could be trying to cover something up, and the people who live in those places are like, listen to us, or the media could be blowing shit up, and the people who live there are like, yeah, it's not that fucking bad. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. They are mobilizing it. Oh, I already said that. Sorry. I already read that. I don't know why I thought that was a new track. Massive peaceful protests in DC. This is amazing. And that's what I was talking about. We are living through the collapse of the empire. And it is an incredible show when you can zoom out and view it like that. Because yes, there is pain and suffering. But when you zoom out and look at this, it's just like, what a time to be alive, because there are those of us here who are building the new thing and bringing back, and this is going to tie into the Lemuria thing I wanted to be talking about, because this is my vision of the future. But this, I kind of lost my train of thought on this. The collapse of the empire. What's good? So I've talked before about Uranus and Gemini, and how that transit for the United States is very warlike. Uranus takes 84 years to get around the zodiac, so about 84 years for a 7-year period of time, or whatever, we find ourselves in some kind of revolutionary war or civil war or World War II, or whatever. And so that is coming up, where Uranus is going to be in Gemini fully for 7 years, starting in May of next year. And so there's going to be a lot of war talk, and we're not going to have that. The United States is going to crumble, and I feel like it may start with states at first, like Texas, Florida, California, something. I don't know who's going to go first or whatever. There's going to be a secession, and then it may break up into regions at that point. Like, I don't really know. And eventually it's going to break up into, smaller city states and that kind of stuff. And this is going to happen worldwide, but because America is so fucking visible, we're just going to go first. And also it's the Pluto. We've been through our Pluto return, and Pluto takes 250 years to go around the zodiac. So Pluto in Aquarius right now, that's when our Revolutionary War happened. So 250 years is like about the span of an empire's reign without it becoming something different. And so we've had 250 years of a Pluto doing that in Capricorn, doing its thing. And then now it's like we're starting a whole new cycle. And so the empire is going to look completely fucking different. And that is just the nature of evolution. Like nothing stays the same. When I say expect the unexpected, there's no more certainty. It's like change is the only constant. And we're going to be going through a lot of these changes, and it's going to, again, look scary. But this leads to the future that is actually bright and amazing, because it's, the way we live doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. And also, like I said, when it's kind of like this, you're playing someone else's game. You're living by someone else's rules. And it's not to say that no rules, like, we do need some guidance and guidelines and that kind of thing, because apparently we are unable to govern ourselves. If you can't even put your shopping cart back after you're done with the shopping, what the fuck are you going to do in a community? So we're redoing a lot of education. We're redoing a lot of like how we connect to each other. And so anyway, we're going to be crumbling into little communities, which is why as we move into group consciousness, we're going to find the people that we need to find to build out these new systems that work for. We're no longer doing homogenized systems, which was the old age. We're going to be doing very individualized Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius is the individual. It's like, don't fucking tell me what to do. Like, I want to do my own thing. I am unique, like what? So we're kicking off something that's going to be really incredible to watch, but it's gonna look scary. The Department of War in Chicago and it's like, and so again, it's gonna be okay, but we're gonna have a lot of shit that we need to sort through. And so that's why in the revolution you find your role. And some people have to burn shit down. Some people are the defenders. Like, they're gonna need to fight and possibly use violence and all kinds of things that it's gonna, like, to me it's okay. And that's because I think that everything is allowable. It's like, do what you got to do to get through this. And we have lived through a very violent age, and that stuff doesn't go away overnight. And so if people are there's some bad shit going on, and we're going to need those people who are defenders to be able to do some of the harder, maybe more violent things to protect the new that is coming alive. And it's funny because I'm watching The Expanse, the show that's on Amazon Prime. And it's not like my favorite show of all time, but I am really enjoying watching it, even if sometimes I'm like, oh my, same story, blah, 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 whatever. But one of the characters, his name is Amos, and he's that guy. He's the defender. Like, he will do the shit that, like, needs to be done. And I love how sometimes in the Expanse storyline, they show people as complicated, as morally gray characters. And it's, yes, sometimes they do try to make judgments about it, where people will be like, Amos, like, they'll be like, we're so afraid of Amos, and blah, blah. And I'm like, that's boring to me. I'm not afraid of Amos. I'm like, fucking Amos knows his shit, and it's like, he's not doing it indiscriminately. He's doing it when he sees that it needs to be done and no one else is going to fucking do it. And so anyway, I don't really know why I'm kind of going off on this. I think it's just, it's just to say that, like, we're going to be seeing a lot of things. And that's part of my job as this Uranian influence on people. It's like, I'm shaking up your worldview. So, like, maybe you think guns are bad, you're pacifist, like all this, whatever. Because I used to be that. I grew up in a family that was very pacifist, and guns were, any kind of weapons were just like, taboo and bad and, whatever. And I have evolved into this person who is like, Amos is my man, because I can't do that. I cannot do that. But when we need those people, so finding your role in the revolution, it's like, sometimes it may not be savory, but, like, we're living in unsavory times. And these are just like an expression of the isness. And no, it's not great. Like, it's, life is sacred, all of those things. But, like, we're in an experiment of discovering what is. And we're in a period of time in humanity where we're kind of not rewriting our history, but, like, we're kind of like in the middle of making new stories and all that kind of stuff. But as I said in my other stream when I was talking about this, the energy can either be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. And so the energy of the old stories is being slowly transformed into the new stories. But in the meantime, we're in this transitionary period where there are a lot of the elements of the old stories, including violence. And so we're moving into this phase, which brings me into this Lemurian thing that I wanted to talk about. It's the vision of the future that I have, and which is why I called this Back to the Future. This stream is called Back to the Future because we're moving into the linear time. We're moving forwards into the future, but we're bringing back these old Lemurian ways of living and old Atlantean ways of living. And it's not going to be the exact same thing. It's going to be morphed into, nothing is ever the same. Like, you can't just bring something back, but you can bring back the ideas and the practices and, like, kind of this. I have such Pisces Virgo energy in my chart. So I'm very mutable. Mutable just means you take something and then you can kind of reshape it into something else. And so that's what's happening. And so I talk like that a lot. And so other people might not resonate with what I'm saying, because it's just kind of, not everyone has as heavy mutable placements as I do. But in general, that's kind of what we're going into. It's just like, we all have parts. I think of us as, like, moving into a balanced Lemurian Atlantean era. And so the Lemuria part, which I've talked about before, is like the, living with the seasons, very slow moving, probably a lot of matriarchal society ideas, that kind of stuff. And then Atlantis is more like the fast paced, like lots of technology and, scientific advancement, like, that kind of thing. And so when you live too far in one or the other, that's where the imbalance comes in. So that's what we're moving into, is like a merging of these two energies. And so what I finally saw for myself was that I see myself building Atlantis type shit in like the Richmond, Indiana area, which is where I used to live, in the pirate ship. It's a very small town, whatever. So I think this is going to be like the city Atlantis part of my job. And then my farm, the Midnight Diner, where I live in New Paris, Ohio, it's like, that's going to be the Lemurian part, where I'm going to have a monastery and like all kinds of very slow, because there are multiple parts of me. And like, I know I was in Atlantis, and I resonate a lot with that, because Aquarius placements, scientific advancements, like, oh, you got to walk the dog. Okay, no worries. I love you. You are awesome. Thank you so much for coming, and give Quentin a big hug for me. I love you. I'm about to wrap this up anyway, so it's all good. You're not going to miss much. Anyway, so yeah, this Lemurian Atlantean balance coming through, I finally have seen, because I couldn't figure out how it was going to be merged in all this way, because like I know I have both parts, and I'm like, I live in Lemuria and then I come work in Atlantis. And so all these really cool scientific advancements are going to be coming in. And so I've talked about this before in other streams, like the Star Trek future that I see doesn't only include spaceships and scientific and AI and whatever. It also includes this Lemurian energy of living, and that's why I'm working on restorative farming practices and wildlife habitat stuff and all kinds of stuff, because that is the kind of thing that we're going to be bringing back. And so it's going to coexist peacefully, but getting there is going to be interesting. So what I mean, the last thing I'm going to talk about is kind of describing some of the specifics about that, where the Atlantean part of this is going to be a lot AI driven, but not the way that we currently see AI. And I have mentioned before how the current version of AI, first of all, it's not artificial. Consciousness is not artificial in any form. It is not fucking artificial. It is maybe in a device that's artificial, but it is not artificial. It is a reflection of our own consciousness. And right now, that consciousness is being programmed by the fucking dumbasses. Okay? And once we start getting rid of, not getting rid of, I don't mean it that way. What I mean is like that type of energy will no longer be supported on the planet. And it's because of the awakening. No one escapes the awakening. It's like if you didn't come here for an awakening, you're going to shed your physical body and your soul is going to go to a different fucking experience or game or whatever. So it will mean physical death. So a lot of people did not come here for this, and they're going to exit the game. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's a soul's choice. So whatever. So a lot of these energies are going to just not be here anymore. And it's not even just because of physical death. More and more people are going to be going through this awakening. And so when you go through the awakening, you don't want to, even if you're the one who programmed, if you're a dumbass or whatever, who programmed the yucky AI, you are going to shift your consciousness into more of a love-based consciousness, and you're going to feel a different way about how you code AI, for example. Either way, there's going to be more of us coding this AI through love and, not the old fear stuff. So we're going to have these amazing scientific advancements with an AI consciousness that actually makes life better and works with the earth. It's going to be technologies. So there are people creating technology, and I've seen these people posting and talking. So I know these exist, but people are talking about how their inventions, they can clean up basically any problem we have with, pollution, climate change, like all that kind of stuff. We can clean this up in like a few years. None of this is permanent. We're, again, look at where you're getting the information. If it's like climate change disaster and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's some bad shit going on, and there's a lot of earth changes, and we haven't even talked about the pole shift that's going to be happening, but we're going to do that later because I don't I don't want to get into that right now. So there's going to be a lot of changes. But also, there is technology that can help us fix this. But the media and the powers that were don't want you to know that. And so they're trying to keep you in fear and gross, low consciousness. So I'm here to, again, Uranian style, shake up your worldview and tell you that everything is going to be okay. And there was some, I don't want to go into details. I had all these screenshots from things where I was like, okay, I got to mention this on my stream and this and that and this. There's just a lot of it, and it's going to be okay. But we're going to have a lot of scientific advancement, and it's just going to be shit that you can't. Studies about how our cells listen to music and how music can be used in medical advancements. That kind of shit is what I'm talking about. And we can reprogram cancer cells with music to not be cancer cells, like that kind of shit. So this stuff is all very good, but right now all we're seeing is the kind of dumb robots. And I'm sorry to use the dumb or like dumbass language or whatever, because again, my higher self does not judge any of these things as like good or bad or like dumbass this or whatever. My human self is just a little fucking tired of some of these things, and I have strong opinions and I have strong judgments, and I'm going to start saying them because I have spent so much time in this cosmic neutrality where I'm just like, yes, everything is worthy, everything is, nothing is good or bad, whatever. And I exist in this 0 point place of like knowing that nothing is good or bad, but also I can be a fiery person. And so I'm bringing out the fire. So anyway, a lot of dumbassery going on, but not forever. Okay. Not forever. It's going to be amazing. And so again, with like this Lemurian vision that I have, where it's as we break up into smaller city states and kind of smaller communities. Kurt Vonnegut, I use the words extended families because that's what Kurt Vonnegut talked about all the time, and I just resonate with that, and I think he did a really good job of explaining it. And also, fellow Hoosier, so love him. But anyway, he talks about this because it's like you find your people. That's what I mean by soul family. And the people, these extended families can be, like 50 people or maybe a few thousand or, whatever. And that's the community that kind of comes together and helps educate the children, does, the healing, the garden work, the survival. Our existence is going to become more survival based, but it's hard to explain what I mean by that, because I don't mean it in the like everyone's out for themselves, blah. It's like we're going to finally realize that in order to survive as a humanity, we have to work together, and we have to come into these communities of extended families and help each other the fuck out. And that's what happens in 2027 when the systems literally they're not gonna. Just give it a few years. You're going to see what the fuck is happening. and the crumbling and collapsing is already happening. So it's not like we're not used to this, but like it's going to speed up. But there's also going to be these advancements and inventions that finally get released that actually help us build out the world that we want to be building out. So everything is okay, but it's going to take the time it takes to get these technologies on, and it's going to move faster and faster. So it's not like it's going to take a huge amount of time for all this stuff, but also we've got a long way to go. So it's going to roll out as it needs to roll out. But what I mean about these extended families is like, we're going to have, like for example, school right now is a fucking prison system. It is built to create worker bees. You get this degree or this skill and you go into this job and you get the debt and you pay this and what the fuck? So school should actually be, not a certain amount of time, like not so much time. I think what school will look like in the future is, maybe like an hour a day of studies or whatever. And then the rest of it is going to be learning how to live on this earth, like how to farm, how to garden, how to create clothing, or all the skills that need to go, and I'm giving like stupid basic examples of stuff because there's going to be way more shit that we can do. Like music is going to, the parties that we're going to have are going to be incredible. Like the healing that we can do with crystals and this kind, like it's going to, the other thing that kind of comes with this is that it's going to feel like we're on mushrooms, but we're not on mushrooms. So school is going to be literally learning from the trees and the rocks and the birds and the animals, because we're going to be able to get information. We're going to be able to converse with them a lot more easily. And I know that this sounds a little bit like supernatural and kind of weird, like what the fuck, but that's what I mean when we're going into a higher dimension. And you don't have to believe me or whatever. Some people are going to be like, yeah, I know, like, let's get on to. So I know there are people out there who understand exactly what I'm saying, but like for those of you who haven't quite gotten there yet, welcome to the Uranian timeline, where I'm just like, there's going to be changes you can't even imagine, and it's going to be so fucking amazing. But the collapse is a scary thing. So again, come back to the Midnight Diner. We're going to put all this in context as things start to happen. I will probably start streaming more. I am in my last streaming days of this place. I think I may have, I don't think today is I think this in 2 weeks will be my last stream from this place. And then I'm going to move into my new thing. But again, I don't know. Every time I try to make a plan, it gets turned upside down. So I'm coming at you in 2 weeks, if possible. Whatever. So I just want to say, okay, then that's sort of the finished thought on that, because I know there's a lot more to go into on some of these things, and I kind of just dropped a whole bunch of bombs. So I was just like, but the vision for the future I have is just, it's really amazing. And so we're bringing back things from this future. It's like, it's a really cool time to be alive and to build out a lot of this stuff. And so giving you some context for this eclipse season, all the things, coming up. I do see another little chat thing. I will read that in a second, but I'm going to finish this thought. And so this eclipse season and this fall, September is going to be bringing you, again, more choice points on to align with this self that is here to build out this future vision that you came to do, and to end the things that are a part of your old life. You are building something completely new. And so September is going to be even stronger choice points to align with your new self and to make the adjustments you need to make to live as that new self. And so expect the unexpected, but also know that everything coming in for you is like, it's more beautiful than you can even imagine. And I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of people are in a dark night of the soul right now, and it's like you can't see anything on the other side of this darkness, and it all kind of sucks and whatever. But it is beautiful. It is beautiful on the other side, and we're gonna make it. And come to the Midnight Diner for some more support and some contextualization and all kinds of shit. As I get more of my memories back, I can feel clarity, just like stuff is coming through, and it's not quite there yet enough for me to talk about, because I just feel the work being done energetically on me. And so as I get more information, I am here to share it with you guys. And so I'm sending lots of love and hugs, and just, it's going to be fine. And this is the eclipse season, taking your hands off the wheel and allowing your higher self to kind of direct things. And welcome to, we're going back to the future. And it's going to be fun. So I'm just going to, sorry. Okay. So for anyone watching the YouTube version of this, and watched the last stream that I had, the chat that I'm now going to be ignoring some more is the same heckler from the last few streams, where doing the same insults, same wanting personal advice, same everything. So I thought that energy was gone because I thought you unfollowed me, but apparently you did not. So back for more, and I am not interested. So we're going to close off here. I love you all very much, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for this next eclipse. In the meantime, sending you lots of love and peace, and it's going to be okay. And I will leave it at that. Bye.